Okay, I'm going to show you how to make the mummy out of my book. And I'll be using my 1/4 inch gauge 24 peg loom. You can use any 24 peg loom that you so desire. You will only need a black and white yarn, mostly white. If you're working in a smaller loom like the 3/8 inch gauge or below, you can use scrap yarn. If you're going to work in a higher gauge, just such as 1/2 inch gauge with a thicker yarn and up, then you will need more yarn. But for the most part, this can be a scrap yarn kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to get started. I'm going to tell you that says you're going to be working the head first, and you're going to be working circular. You're going to be using 24 pegs, and you'll be starting off on the white, and you're going to do a drawstring cast on of 24 pegs. Okay, so I'm going to do a drawstring cast on. Okay, so in and out, in and out, in and out. And this time I am actually working circular. Okay. A lot of times I'll be doing it flat. Alright, so I'm going to toss every other loop over, get it started. Okay, now what it says to do is it says you want to knit rows 1 through 7. Okay, so you're just going to knit round and round like this for a total of 7 rows. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and knit your 7 rows, and when we come back we'll be ready to do the black area, which is your little eye hole section. Okay, pause the video and get that much done. Okay, I've completed rows 1 through 7, and I have rows 8 through 13 to do, and that's 6 rows, and we're going to do some color chunking. Alright, and what that means is you're going to need your black. So here's that, and it says to change color to black. Okay, so we're going to attach our black. We're not going to cut the white. Okay, I'm going to make it all make sense. We're just going to change the color to black and do a couple of half knots. Okay. Alrighty. Now, what we want to do is it says to knit 8 and change color to white and knit 16. Okay, so we're going to knit 8. I'm going to kind of try to knit that tail in. 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Alright. Then it says to change to white. We're going to come back over here. And we're going to knit our way around. Okay. And it says to knit 16. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And you've met up with your black. Now, here's the thing. When doing color chunking, you have to keep one thing in mind. Your same color is going to go under and over. So for me, my white is going to go under and over the black every time. All right, I'm going to show you how this is done. So this is our first row like this. When we get back to the other side, that is going to be row 2. Okay? So we're going to knit our 16 back. Once you have an idea of what your color chunking is, it's pretty easy to keep up with. All right. When you go to the other side and back, it's 2 rows. All right. So I'm going to meet up over here, and then what I want to do is go back the direction I came. Then I'm going to pick up my black, and I'm going to knit my 8 stitches. All right. Alright, so I've knitted my 8 stitches. Remember, the white goes under and over the black. Okay, you can choose to do the black first, or you can choose to do the white. Just remember, whichever color you choose to go up under and over is the one you do all the time. And when you do it this method, like this, you should not get tangling between the 2 colors, okay? So we're starting on row 3, okay? This is pretty much the most complicated section of this whole thing. But color chunking is really helpful to learn how to do when messing with different things. Particularly if you want like a different belly color area and that kind of thing. So you push down and you come back the direction you came. Okay, and then you pick up your black and you knit your way over. Okay? And when you get over there, that will be row 3. Okay? Alright, so I'm going under and over. Under and over on my white. Alright? So, this is going to complete row 4. I want to do this for a total of 6 rows. 6 rows. Go ahead and pause the video and finish your 6 rows. And when we come back, we'll be ready to start the next section that will finish the head off. Okay, so I have done my 6 rows and I'm actually ready. I already snipped my black. I'm ready to tie it back off. Okay. You can shorten that tie off later. Alright. So at this point now is rows 14 through 19, and it says to change color to white and to knit. And you're going to knit for 6 rows. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to knit for 6 rows. Alright? You're just going to knit round and round and round for 6 rows. I'll have to loosen that first stitch. Alright, here. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to do just like you did in the beginning. At this point, you're just going to knit round and round for 6 rows. Alright, so go ahead and pause the video and complete your 6 rows of knit, and then we will be ready to come back and finish the head off, okay? And then we'll be ready to do the legs and the body. And this is actually really not that bad of a pattern, okay? So it's not that difficult. Alright, so pause the video and complete your 6 rows of white, and then when we come back, we'll finish the head off. Okay, we've done the last bit of rows. So you have a square area and everything. And what we are ready to do is what it calls a prep decrease, and I'm going to show you what that entails. You're going to knit first. I'm going to pull this down a little bit. This camera wants to focus on what's in the distance, not what's in front of its face. Kind of stupid. Alright, so you knit 2, take it back 1, toss it over, and move it over 1. Knit the 2, take it back 1, toss bottom loop over, and move it over. And the object of this is to have a particularly smooth drawstring close, right? And that's what this does. It halves your stitches to 24 to 12. Okay. Move it back 1, toss the bottom loop over, and move it over 1. Knit 2, back 1, toss the bottom loop over, move it over 1. I'll do this all the way around. Okay, you're ready to cut you a tail, and you're ready to draw string off. And take that through and pull it through. I gave myself a little bit extra in case I want to do some shaping through cinching areas in the head to create more of a defined mouth and that kind of thing. I've made this a pretty simple mummy, but you may want to do a eye cord and kind of put some bandaging around it looking stuff. It's up to you how you want to do that. So just toss it over and pull it all the way around. And so I'll be starting the body next. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You're going to be working from the bottom up. So looking at it. Now you can also knit in some texturing if you want, where you do some neat purls and knits to create that kind of mummy texturing. This is a real basic pattern. Okay, so gonna pull that closed. And you kind of see a little mummy head. Okay. Or you can add some little weird glowing eyes if you want. But yeah, so here's your head, and that's done. You can put that aside, and we're going to start on the body. And what it says to do is to work circularly, work with 4 pegs in the white. And it says to draw string, cast on 24 pegs, and to knit 6 rows to start. Okay, so we're going to weave in and out all the way around. Alrighty, now working circular lines, and we're just going to toss every other loop over. I don't know why this is not wanting to focus today. It's just giving me trouble. Alright, so I got myself worked all the way around. Next thing I want to do is knit for 6 rows. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and knit for 6 rows, and when we come back we'll be ready to start the next section. Okay, so we finished our 6 rows, and what we want to do now is we want to just purl a row. Okay, so you want to go around and purl a row, and what this is going to do is going to give you a guideline on where to sew your legs on. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and purl you 1 row, and when we come back we'll be ready to start on rows 8 through 13. Okay, so I've done 1 row of purl, and rows 8 through 13 are 6 rows of knit. So what you want to do is you want to knit for 6 rows. So go ahead and pause the video and knit your 6 rows, and then we'll be ready to start on row 14, which is where we're going to be doing some short rows. Okay, we have completed our rows 8 through 13, and that was 6 rows. And now we're on row 14, and this is where we're going to do kind of a little belly area, and it's going to be done in short rowing, and it really, you know this kind of short rowing method, you can do it whatever way you see fit. If you want to do a German short row, that's fine. If you want to set it up and do any short row method that you like, I'm going to just give you an idea of what we are doing. What we want to do is, it says to knit 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, and you're going to wrap behind the next peg and turn. Then it says to knit 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then it says to wrap and turn. And it says to knit 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wrap and turn. You see a pattern developing here. And it says to knit 8, wrap and turn, knit 7, wrap and turn, knit 6, wrap and turn, knit 6. So what you want to do is you want to keep wrapping and turning until you have 6 single stitches between your wraps and turns. So you knit your way over to just before your last wrap and turn, and you wrap and you turn. Okay. Okay. Now it says to knit 6, knit 2 together. Okay, so you're going to start with the peg you finished with. You're going to knit 6. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then knit 2 together. Then it says to knit 7, knit 2 together. So knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, knit 2 together. Then knit 8, knit 2 together, knit 9, knit 2 together, and you just keep going with this until you don't have any more wraps and turns. Alright? Now it says to knit 11 and then knit 2 together, and then it says to knit 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Now, that says to knit rows 15 through 24. So at this point, you're going to knit for 9 rows, okay? So pause the video and knit for 9 rows, and when we come back, we'll be ready to finish up our body. Okay, so I finished all my rows, and you can see the body here. And it says for the body that you're ready to do a drawstring bind off. So you're gonna just cut your tail and you're going to toss the bottom loop over and pull through. Okay, so you want to go ahead and pause the video and do your drawstring bind off, and then we will be ready to start the arms and go from there. Okay, so pause the video and get that much done, and we'll come back and start on the arms. Okay, so here is my body. That's the bottom, and when you stuff it, it'll have a little belly area. Okay, and here's my head, and we'll just attach those two, later. But we need to set up our limbs. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to start the arms. It says we're going to be working flat, 16 pegs. We're going to be working in white. Now, if I recall correctly, there isn't much difference between one or the other. There's a little bit more rows in between, but it really is only a small variation between the arms and the legs. The technique runs basically the same. Okay, so for the arms, we're going to work flat. We're going to work over 16 pegs, and we're going to work in the white. Okay, we're going to be starting more with the hand area and moving our way up to the shoulder, upper arm. Okay, now what it says to do is to drawstring cast on 16. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Okay. Now we're going to work our way back. I'm just going to toss every other loop over. Okay. Now, what it says to do is you're going to knit rows 1 through 6. And if you're doing the legs, you're going to do the same thing, cast on the same amount of pegs, but you're going to do 1 through 8. So you're going to do 8 rows of knit for the leg, and you're going to do 6 rows of knit for the arm. Okay, so you're doing the same process, but make a note of that, okay? Because the decreasing is still the same, you're decreasing down to the same amount of stitches. I'm just going to explain where the difference in the rows are. So for instance, you're just going to be doing 2 more rows right now than the arms, okay? So what you want to do is you want to go in, and if you're working on the arms, you're going to do 6 rows. If you're working on the legs, you're going to do 8 rows, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and complete your 6 or 8 rows. So I'm not going to really show how to do the leg by itself because it really is pretty much the same as the arm. It's just got a little bit more rows in between your decreases and that kind of thing, okay? So pause the video. If you're working on the arms, complete 6 rows. If you're working on the legs, complete 8 rows. Okay, so I have completed my 6 rows if I'm doing an arm, 8 rows if I am doing the legs, okay? And then if you're doing either row 7 or row 9, this is where you're going to do a decrease on the ends. So what it says to do is it says to decrease over, knit 2 together, then it says to knit 12, okay, and then it says to decrease on the end and then knit 2 together. So when you see a decrease showing up on the ends of a row, that's all you're going to do. It's easiest to just go ahead and do the decrease so you don't have to worry about it. It's just done. And so this is what you're going to do next, whether you're doing the leg or the arm, whether you're doing row 7 or row 9, this is what you are doing. You're doing a decrease. Okay. Now, what is next is for rows 8 through 10, so 8, 9, 10 is 3 rows, and 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 is 6 rows on the legs. So you've done your decrease. You're either going to do 3 rows on the arm or 6 rows on the legs, okay? So what you want to do is you want to pause the video and complete 3 rows after that decrease row for the arms, 6 rows if you're doing the legs, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and get that much done. When we come back, we'll be ready to show you how to do rows 11 on the arms and rows 16 on the legs, okay? So go ahead and pause the video and get that much done. Okay, so I finished my rows. Now if you're doing the legs, you're going to end up on the other side. It doesn't matter on row 16 on the leg, you're still decreasing on the ends, okay? So you still do the same process, it doesn't matter which side you finished on. What you're going to do is you're going to decrease on the ends, okay? Because that's what it says to do. You're going to decrease and then you're going to knit so many stitches, and then you're going to decrease, knit 2 together. Okay, and so this is row 11 on the arms and row 16 on the legs. All right, so if you're doing the legs, you're going to be over here, but it's the same exact process. Decrease, and you just knit your way over. Okay, this is really no different in that way with the arms and the legs. You just have a few more rows in between, which is why I'm not filming the legs separate when they're pretty much the same with just a variation of the rows in between. Okay, so we've completed that row, and now you have several rows that you're going to need to do after that. So for the arms, you want to do 8 rows flat, and for the legs, you want to do 9 rows. So this is where it isn't really much different. So if you were doing the arms, you're going to do 8 rows, and if you're doing the legs, you're going to do 9 rows. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and complete your rows, and then we will be ready to do the bind off. And then I'm going to tell you to go in and make all your limbs, and then we'll be ready to assemble. So we're getting very close to the being ready to assemble part. So pause the video. 8 rows for arms, 9 rows for legs. Okay, I've completed my rows, and now I am ready to bind off. So there's nothing really special about the bind off. You knit the first 2, take the second one back, toss the bottom loop over to get you started, knit the second stitch, take it back 1, knit the bottom loop over, move it over. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with the legs, alright? And then you're going to want to sew them up on the side. Okay, so you'll make 2 arms, 2 legs, sew them up on the side, and go ahead and stuff them, and we should be ready to go in and start assembling our little mummy. If you want to create an I-cord for the bandaging that can go around it to give it more texturing, by all means go for it and do that. Okay, I find doing an I-cord takes me longer than just going in and doing a crochet hook and a chain. A chain is so easy, it's so much faster too than doing an I-cord. So you want to go ahead and pause the video and complete all your limbs so that when you come back, you're ready to assemble your body. Okay, and I will give you a quick idea as to how you want to get this done. Okay, and pull that through. Alright, so here's your little limb, and you want to pull it out as far as possible. You want to close that up, and you want to sew up the edge. Okay, and you want to go and make 2 arms and 2 legs, doing that slight row adjustment in between, and when we come back we should be able to start assembling our mummy. What you'll want to do is you want to close off the bottom and if you don't know how to do that, I will show you how to do the star method to close it off better. Okay. And show you how to assemble everything. So if you already know the star method, you've already seen me close up that extra holing using the star method, just go ahead and do it. Stuff your body, stuff your head, stuff your arms, so that when you come back, you'll just be ready to assemble everything, okay? But go ahead and pause the video, complete your limbs so that we can come back and we can finish this up. Okay, so I have all my parts. You can see that I've already stuffed my head and I've stuffed my legs and my arms. You may want to try an I-cord. Me, I personally just, it's easy enough to take a crochet hook and do a chain, and a long chain, and so I did about a yard of chain, so about 3 feet of chain, but it's up to you. You can do more or less, depends on how much bandaging you want it to look like. Okay, so the only thing I didn't do was stuff the body, and I wanted to show the star method on closing up the bottom. Okay. So, as you can see, there is a hole in the bottom. Now, you want to go and send the needle through just like you're drawing a star. So you go up and down and over to the side, over to the other side, and back down again, but slightly off. Then pull. And there you have it. It's all closed up. Then you're just going to send it through the middle and tie it off. Okay. So, just going to tie it off and then stuff your body. And this is where your assembly comes in. Okay. So I'm just going to shove that in there. I'm not even going to cut it. Ain't no point. When you're just going to stuff the body. Okay. So you're going to stuff the body. And again, there's a fine point of where you stuff too much and stuff too little. Okay. And there's just a fine point in there, figuring out where that fine medium is. When stuffing also, you want to try and press down and compact the polyfill, because it's going to adjust naturally. Okay. I'll put a little bit more in there. And that should do it. Okay. So, here's how this is going to work. Alright. So this is your stomach area here. What you want to do is you want to sew the head on in the middle of the stomach area facing forward. Then you have this nice purl line, and you want to sew your legs onto the purl line, okay? And then you want to sew your arms at the very top of the body, on the very side, top of the body, okay? You can sew your limbs on first and the head last. And if you're going to add eyes, if you're going to add safety eyes, you want to do that before you stuff. And of course, you want to work them somewhere in there. Also, you can sew down where you wrap this around the body and make it look more mummy-like. You can also cinch the eyes and give it more definition. Okay, so what I'm going to tell you is go ahead and pause the video, sew all your pieces together, okay, and wrap your bandage however you want around it, if you even want to do that. I didn't do it for the book, so if you don't want to bother with that for the book, you don't have, you don't have to. I'll show you how to do some accenting on the face if you want to do a little bit more there, okay? So, but if you did the, you might want to do your eyes first no matter what, and then start wrapping this around the body and that kind of thing. And that can give it the more mummy look, but you can either sew it on. I'm probably going to hot glue it, because you hot glue with yarn, it doesn't come off. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video, assemble your mummy, and then we will be ready to show you how to add all the accents, some definition to the face, that kind of thing, so that it really stands out. Okay. Okay, as you can see, I have put them all together, and all this is extra. Basically, you're done. If you want to cinch an eye area, and while this is white, it could be classified as eyes for it if you want. But I have finished up here, and I sent it through the back. So what I'm doing is I'm sending it up where I think I want my eye to go. This is not exact, so once you send it up, and you send it back through the bottom of the head where the neck is. Okay. See that? Send it back through there. And you're gonna pull. You're gonna send it back up again to the other side to create another eye. You're gonna send it back through. And pull. And you should have more definition there, as you can see. Now, what you want to do next is, it's up to you if you want to add an indentation for the mouth. If you want to add an indentation for the mouth, then you just come up through here, get about where the mouth should be, and send it back through the neck. Okay. Alright. Once you have that, I usually send it through the body and cut the extra. At this point, I'm probably going to take some paint and put in little white dots for the eyes, and I may put in a little white dot for the mouth. Now, if you've done a chain, you want to do probably about 3 feet worth. Right, and what you want to do is, I'm personally going to glue it, but you're going to either sew it or glue it all the way around. So you start gluing it all the way around the body and the head. Okay. this is all extra. So you glue it around. And you just glue it here and there, so you wrap it around the body. And you just glue it, and then you can wrap it back up. Wrap the arm. That kind of thing, okay? So, there you have it. I'm personally going to glue mine in place. Because glue, once you start gluing that stuff, it doesn't move it, okay? But that is how you go in and you add any of the extras if you want it to be more mummy-like. If you liked it before, just leave it. But me, I'm going to add little dot eyes and little mouth, okay? But otherwise, that is how you loom knit a mummy.